You are live.
Last call. Hey, it might be 11 a.m. Saturday Eastern time, but it's last call because some games are about to start. Full baseball card, the Preakness, got some UFC, also some NHL. We'll even take an advanced look at some NBA coming up tomorrow and Sunday and later this week. This is last call every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, live here on WagerTalk TV. I am Steve Merril, filling in for Ariel. She'll be back next week, don't you worry. And we start off the show, as we always do, with Gianni the Greek, the Steam Report. Gianni, let's get right to it. What are you looking at here on Saturday?
Busy. Already dropped premium play for subscribers. I'll give that out right now. In WNBA,
Ooh.
Las Vegas Aces plus 4.5 and 4. That's Las Vegas Aces plus 4.5 and 4. We are starting to bet WNBA. Fired a couple bets yesterday as well. Good night, coming off a nice night yesterday overall. Obviously, tomorrow is the NBA game. Nothing to report on that game yet, but what I have been seeing is the public accounts that are betting it. They're already taking the points with the Nuggets. They like the dog getting all them points against Oklahoma City. Personally, I disagree. I think the Thunder end up blowing that team out. I'm hoping the money line drops. It could get below 300 or better. I'm betting Oklahoma City. I think they're a great home team to get that W tomorrow, but that's tomorrow. Today, it's not much going on in the NHL either. What I can share there is all one-sided Dallas money, all from the betting public. Wise guys haven't gotten involved on a side or the total yet. So all the risk is coming from the betting public, which is betting Dallas. They're parlaying Dallas with a lot of the baseball today. They're parlaying Dallas with tomorrow's NBA. I'm seeing Dallas and Denver plus the point parlays already. So they don't really want to lay the minus 150, 155, whatever it is on Dallas right now. Instead, they're trying to get it cheaper by parlaying it. Everything else is pretty much just Major League Baseball. I gave out 2 free UFL totals yesterday or the day before. They go today and tomorrow, I think. We went under 40.5 Birmingham, St. Louis, under 40.5 Birmingham, St. Louis, and then over 42.5 Michigan, Houston, over 42.5 Michigan, Houston. So that's under in the Birmingham game, over in the Michigan game. Also, Las Vegas Aces, that went out as a 3% play to subscribers. Otherwise, it's been all baseball. And it's going to be a busy day of MMA too. The UFC starts 1 p.m. Pacific over here at the Apex. So, yeah, good day to fire.
Yeah, Johnny, I love it. I mentioned all those sports, and you led off with WNBA. Didn't even realize they had started. And then you throw in UFL. My goodness, what are you doing to us? Hey, UFC, we're not talking about it too much on the show today. Anything jump out to you there?
Yeah, here's what I'm looking at in the UFC. It's one of those cards that looks to be like favorite heavy. At least that's what the initial line moves look like. It seems like that's what the public's on, betting most of these favorites, tying them in the parlays, because it's kind of like the calm after the storm. After the week after the pay-per-views, it's usually like almost not a letdown card, but it's kind of like now the UFC is more or less aiming towards the Expo coming up in June. That's the next big event, where it's the week here in Las Vegas, the International Fight Week. It's a really big event. So between now and then, the cards aren't the greatest, but there's always betting opportunities. The problem with tonight's card is the main event and co-main event are chalk heavy. I mean, in the main event, Morales is like a minus 700 or so against Burns, and it's warranted. I mean, this is Morales' coming out party. He's been perfect in the UFC. This is a big step up based on strength of schedule, but he's catching Burns at the right time of his career. I don't think Burns is going to be able to take him down. Morales' takedown defense is just too good, and more importantly, he's going to have a huge reach advantage here. Going to have an age advantage, just too much speed, too much strength. I think he takes care of Burns. I kind of lean over the 3.5 there as well. Burns is durable. He's rugged. I think he should be able to take what Morales gives him at least for a couple rounds, and it's at 3.5. I think it gets there. In the co-main event, the same thing. Bellato's like minus 700 or 800. I don't think Bellato should be that big of a favorite against Craig, even though Craig's lost 3 straight fights. Bottom line is the strength of schedule is not even close. I mean, Craig's fought elite guys in that weight class. Bellato, it's more on potential. And with Craig, you know, with his submission game, he's always live. The problem is he's at the tail end of his career. So it's one of those not type gatekeepers, but it's a name you could get on your resume. And it's same thing for the Morales fight, where it's a younger guy able to get somebody with a big name on their resume. But I do think Craig's tough enough to withstand the 1.5 round total. I know it's being bet under. I like the over. I think he could survive 7.5 rounds with Bellato. So I kind of lean over in both the main and the co-main event. And I do think both favorites do get the W, but I don't think there's too much value. A premium that I'll give out for free. I did bet Jared Gordon over Moises. I think Gordon, just a much better fighter here, just a lot more well-rounded. If he wasn't coming off that loss, which was a split decision in his last fight against Hasparant, he would be a 2-1 favorite in this spot. But now it looks like he's only had one win in his last 3 fights because of that one no contest against King Green. And because of that, you were able to get him at a slight discount. I don't like that Thiago's a lot younger than him, but I think Gordon's got more than enough to get it done. I also have a 5% going. Can't give that out, obviously. But it's a decent card. Live dog for you. I'll give you a live dog real quickly. Dustin Stolfus over Ruzboev. Ruzboev probably should win this fight, obviously, but I just don't think the price is warranted. He's just way too big of a favorite against Stolfus. With his back against the wall, I think it's one of those live dogs. Again, when you're taking that kind of plus money, you're going to throw that ticket out a lot more than you're going to cash it. But at almost a 2-1 dog, the break even, he's got to win this fight 1 out of 3 times. And I think it's more like 60-40 in favor of Ruzboev. I don't think he should be more than a -150 favorite, 160 favorite. So I do think there's a little bit of value on the Stolfus side. I haven't fired yet, but I'm hoping that line goes a little bit higher so I could get +200 or greater. It's about that -+195 range right now. But we should be able to get +200. Again, I just think that's a plus EV bet. Usually not going to cash too many of those. You'll throw it out 6 out of 10 times, even when you're running hot. But you still have an edge, even at that rate. Because, again, he should be about +140, +150, able to get +200. Got to take that bet. Pretty much early on what I'm looking at here. Otherwise, I'm a little heavy chalk, lean chalk as well. But again, I've been mostly trying to get the baseball knocked out and then going to dive into MMA in another hour.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. I mean, baseball's the same way. It's a money line sport. You're talking about a pick you like tonight that has value, has a long-term expected edge, but it probably won't win. Right?
Yeah, because, exactly. Like, I know I'm going to throw that ticket out 6 out of 10 times. Right. So not even 50-50, but it's still at a price where I think I'm getting the best of it. And as long as you could keep placing those bets, you'll do good over time. Like if it was the only bet I'm ever going to place and I'm not betting ever again, I wouldn't bet it, but the fact that I'm going to bet again tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, I'm just looking to place good bets, trusting that as long as I could do that, when the dust settles, I'll be up money.
That's the long-term versus short-term approach. Because if it's 60-40,
too much randomness in any one outcome.
It should be +150. If you're getting into +200, that's a 33% you got to win. So once again, that's a 7% edge long-term. And that's the difference between a short-term bettor who loses or a long-term investor like Gianni the Greek. Johnny, we'll let you get back to working that baseball card. What else you got going on at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, they'll have the baseball will be up with a nice 4%. I haven't fired a 5%. I fired, I think, 5% so far in Major League Baseball, and that ended up pushing. But I do have a really isolating a strong play that I like in baseball. That card will probably be up within the next 30 minutes. I have my MMA card. Like I said, I gave out the UFL for free, but that's already sent out to subscribers. WNBA, you got the free play as well. So it's all about MMA and Major League Baseball today. And we'll approach NBA tomorrow. So head on over. I should have some free plays on my page as well. So I'll make sure you check that out.
Once again, Gianni the Greek, WagerTalk.com. Yet another reason to get an all sports, all access subscription, because you're getting not only the major sports, but WNBA, UFL, MMA, baseball, of course, NBA still going as well, NHL. Anything he finds, he puts up. All sports, all access. And don't forget, this weekend, you can still get on board that all access special at WagerTalk.com, which is 1 year, 365 straight days and nights at every play release for any capper you want for $11.88. It's normally $2,000. It's an instant 40% discount. There is no promo code needed. And as an added bonus, you get a 25% coupon which you can use any day for the next year, every day for the next year, to buy bonus plays from other cappers. So once again, lock in on your favorite capper for a full year right now. Save 40%, but get that bonus coupon so you can pick up additional plays from anybody each and every day and get a quarter off everything for the next year. It's an all-inclusive one-year special. Gets it down to exactly $99 a month. Like you see on the screen, that's just over $3 a day. No promo code needed this weekend. WagerTalk.com. All right, we'll get to the Preakness in a moment. We touched on that NBA Game 7, by the way. I did do a solo video for Game 7, Thunder Nuggets. It's up right now. And, of course, I did it nice and early on Friday afternoon, 2 days in advance. And then last night on Friday, it was announced Aaron Gordon will likely not play with a hamstring injury. So that line has gone from 7.5 up to 8, even 8.5 in some spots. So just wanted to point that out. But if you want to deep dive into Game 7, Thunder and Nuggets, it is on WagerTalk TV right here. Make sure you click subscribe and you click that bell for instant alert when these free play videos go up each and every day. All right, let's talk some Preakness. I know everyone's excited about the horse racing. Part of the Triple Crown continues. I guest host 2 weeks ago. We did the Derby. I guest host Wager Talk today, Wednesday. We talked to Preakness with Sean Alvarez. So I got a guest host again and have Sean on today on Saturday. And Sean, the Preakness is right around the corner. We touched on it a few days ago. Let's dive back into it. What are you looking at today?
Yeah, and with that being said, in 3 weeks, I would keep that Saturday off your schedule.
That's right.
I assume we're going to have you back for the Belmont as well. But yeah, I mean, the talk of this 150th running of the Preakness is we don't necessarily get the Kentucky Derby winner into this race with, not going to have that Triple Crown opportunity going into this, but it's still a $2 million purse. The winner still takes home $1.2 million, and it's still the second leg of the Triple Crown. So, it may not be a Kentucky Derby winner, that type of history and lore going into it, but you still get your name etched in history and take home a nice little paycheck and trophy if you win this running of the Preakness Stakes.
So you mentioned goal-oriented in a Wager Talk today. I'll let people go back and watch the Wednesday episode. They can get some insight into the number 1 horse on the rail there. But you got another horse you want to talk about here in the race today, the number 6 horse. What are you looking at there?
Yeah, I really like the way that River Thames is kind of coming into this race. And, we spoke about the fact that the trainer and the ownership group on the Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty are skipping the Preakness as, they've spoke about it's really not his spot. He probably also needed a little bit of rest. They're doing right by the horse and taking care of him rather than, shoving him into a race. And, that leads us to Todd Pletcher and the Windstar Farm ownership group of this number 6 River Thames, who had enough points to go into the Kentucky Derby. And when you start training, thoroughbred horses and owning horses that cost, upwards of $1 million, your number 1 goal is to win the Kentucky Derby. And again, they did right by the horse, giving him a little bit of time off. He looked a little bit tired in the Grade 1 Bluegrass in his start before that. So Todd Pletcher really likes his running style going into this Preakness race, probably needed a little bit of time off. So, we're going to look at the number 2 journalism as the morning line and probably the post-time favorite when those gates open. And, the really big question on him is, what's he going to look like wheeling back in 14 days? It's not necessarily a, winning type trainer angle or something that Mike McCarthy, the trainer of the number 2 journalism, does. So that's kind of the knock or the question I have about that favorite. I like that they gave a little bit of time off to this number 6 River Thames. We're getting a little bit of a good price because, a lot of public's going to be on, the number 2 journalism and also Sandman, who ran in the Derby. So I think we're going to get a good price on River Thames. Didn't necessarily look good in the Bluegrass, but I think he was tired. Give him a little bit of an excuse there, and hopefully he can fire a big number for us later on today.
And Jack Falk in the live chat says that a 40-1 long shot just cashed in race 2 today. I don't know if you saw that or not. That's crazy, he said. And obviously, pari-mutuel betting. Not many people had him if he went off 40-1. Also, we got a question here. I don't know about the Secretary connections. We joked about this a few weeks ago in the Derby. Mac Hudson is asking, any Secretariat edges? I mean, in the Derby, every single horse was a lineage of Secretariat. I don't know if that's still the case here. Maybe there's 1 or 2 that's not.
Yeah, I mean, like we alluded to in the last show, there's quite a lot of Secretariat lineage or foals that have gone down the from year in and year out. But if I'm looking towards any kind of Secretariat edge, it would be more in 3 weeks when we go a much further distance, and it actually leans more towards those speed type horses that can run quick and run fast often, like Secretariat did, or even like, the likes of American Pharoah and Justify.
And once again, the Preakness, the shortest race, the Belmont in 3 weeks that we were talking about is the longest race. And that's why a lot of horses sit out this one, because they want that strong endurance race that's coming up around the corner. On the way out, we talk about a pick to win. It's a small field, but as we always say, you're going to get your value with the exactas and the trifectas and putting small wagers in for big reward. I've noticed, if I'm not mistaken, you're kind of avoiding the favorite here in these round exactas, trying to get that payout up again. So I'll ask you a couple of things. What exactas do you like? And also, how worried are you leaving the pre-race favorite Journalism, the number 2 horse, off the card?
I think we're talking about a different race, right?
I'm sorry. You're looking at race 12. You've got an exacta for us there. Got you. Well, let me ask you before we get to race 12. That's not for the Preakness. You're right. What's the Preakness? Maybe race 13. I'm not sure what number it is. But yeah, before we get to a bonus race for you, the exacta, how worried are you about leaving maybe Journalism off? Obviously, there's not a lot of value with them at, just over even money.
Yeah, and we'll kind of talk about it in the 12th race when I am, kind of leaning away from at least the first 2 betting choices. But, Journalism is he's a well-deserving morning line favorite. He's the best 3-year-old in this crop. Yes, there's question marks that you can, ask yourself to try and punch holes in his form, to try and, make a little bit more money on the win end. But, again, he's easily the best horse in the field. If he runs anywhere near his race that he ran in the Kentucky Derby in this Preakness Stakes later today, he's easily the horse to beat, and he probably wins the race by, a pole or a half a pole. It probably won't be very close. So, in that kind of sense, I am going to play Journalism on top. I'm not going to let him beat me. But I also like to, try and leave off maybe second or third choices and like, or reach for prices that I like as well. So with that being said, I do not like him on the win end, but I do like the number 9 Goscher at a big old price at 20-1, maybe to clunk up into that second or third spot to round up your exactas and trifectas. Everybody wants to win this race. And so, whether it's jockeys making the wrong move, whether it's horses just getting a little bit tired, sometimes jockeys are a little bit more focused on, well, I got to keep, I got to always know where Journalism is, or, I got to keep these leaders in touch. I can't let them go, too far too early. So, maybe that number 9 Goscher at 20-1 can kind of clunk up where, it gives us a little bit more value if that, morning line favorite Journalism wins.
And so once again, avoiding Pay Billy at 20-1, but you're looking at the 9 horse maybe as the long shot that could get into some top 3 exactas and top 2 exactas, top 3 trifectas there. So once again, risk a little, win a lot with those round robins. And you've got one for us in race 12, which I guess is the race before that I was alluding to. What are you looking at in this one, the undercard?
Yeah, so, kind of like I spoke about in the previous segment is, I'm going to try and beat favorites where I feel like I can punch holes into their form. And that favorite's the 13 Shikari at 5-2. He is, or she is the horse to beat in this race. Sorry, he is the horse to beat in this race. But, that 13 post is not necessarily an easy post position to overcome, especially on this turf course. And while he doesn't necessarily need the lead, he's not going to come too far back. There's not a lot of speed in this race. And when there's not a lot of speed in this race and they're going a route of ground on the turf, they kind of bunch up. And so I really think this 13 is going to be drifted out wide, probably be wide throughout. So I do like prices underneath. I think the 1 with Luis Saez can save all the ground. I also think he can be a little bit more forwardly placed at 12-1. I like the 4 Neat at 8-1. I think he's running into good form. I think this distance and this race kind of hits his form between the eyes. And the number 10 Fort Washington is another horse that is one to beat with Junior Alvarado coming out, winning his last race at Gulfstream. So I'm going to kind of throw out the first and second choice up top. I'm going to use the 1, the 4, and the 10 up top. And then I'm going to use the 1, 4, 6, 10, and 13 underneath. For $1 exacta, it's only going to cost you $12 to punch. And like I alluded to with, a 12-1, an 8-1, a 10-1. And if we can get the favorite off the board, I definitely think this can pay. And, we're 1 for 1. We got the exacta 2 weeks ago. So like I said, if we get this one today, definitely clear out your schedule in 3 weeks.
It'll pay for that 3-week package too, because all it takes is $30 today to get everything that Sean has, including the undercard. You just got a taste of it right there. Sean's full Pimlico card, including the Preakness and all these bonus wagers, exotics, and everything, just $30 right now, right at WagerTalk. Sean, tell us about it.
Yeah, so you can get all of my full card selections as far as kind of use it more of a guide for yourself. It's my 1 through 4 selections of each and every race on the Pimlico card, but you can also just kind of get my best bet wagers where I see value in daily doubles, pick threes, and exactas throughout the card. And we did speak about 2 races have gone off. That package really starts in race 5. So you're not missing anything if you feel like you're getting in late now. It's going to be available for probably the next hour and a half before that race 5 starts. So get in now, and hopefully we can take down this Pimlico card.
Awesome. Yeah, live viewers, take advantage of that right now. It's not too late to get in, get the full card for $30. And even if you're watching this on the replay, you still got a couple hours to get Sean Alvarez's full Pimlico, not just Preakness, but Pimlico card today on Saturday at WagerTalk.com. All right, let's keep it rolling. Do we have my man, the Prez? Got to talk some hockey. Got to have a Canadian on. There he is. It's Saturday, Prez. You and I have done very few Saturday shows. It's going to break the internet, man. It's going to break it.
Well, listen, Saturday is Shabbos. And like John Goodman in The Big Lebowski said, I don't work on Shabbos.
I don't roll. No, you don't roll on Saturday. It's exactly what
I don't bowl on Shabbos. I don't roll. No, he says bowl.
I thought he said roll. All these years, is it bowl?
Yes.
God, I like roll better. I think roll is great. God, that's a great movie. That was on late about a month ago as I'm flipping around, and it was right when they went to Larry Sellers' house. Tough nut to crack, that Larry Sellers, near the In-N-Out Burger on 5th. All right, my man, let's get.
No, I mean, listen, a great movie. I'll tell you, Slapshot is a movie that I want to see it again. And
back here, look right behind me. The Hanson brother is right there under the Vegas sign. If you look close enough, I don't know if you've ever known that.
No, but look at what I'm doing, dude. Check out what I'm doing. Like I'm getting rid of the green screen.
Oh man, yeah, it's been on my to-do list for like 5 years, but I doubt I'll get there this summer.
I'm getting rid of the green screen, and I got 100. So I'm on the phone with Barnaby yesterday, and I'm hammering shit into the wall, right? Like I'm putting this up, all my pictures, and Barnaby's like, "Oh, that's cool. How many pieces do you have?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have more than you for sure." I don't even have close, dude. I got 120 pieces.
Ooh, is he a collector?
Yeah, he's in the 300s or something. So yeah,
I've got 100 and some in a cabinet right near here that's been there for about a decade, and I haven't touched this for 5 years. Like, I think I've added a couple baseball hats since I did the NASCAR show 5 years ago, but it works, right? It's clean.
Green screen blocked. Green screen.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even realize that was a green screen until you started moving. That actually looks normal. So I know until your room went sideways like a 3-dimensional etching. Hey, we got a game, 6 today in hockey?
Yeah, baby.
Game
Firstly,
seven
what a performance by the Leafs. I mean, come on, man. They lose 3 in a row. They get dominated in the game 5. They lose 6-1. They go to Florida, and they played a perfect hockey game start to finish. That was a statement win. I feel good. Guys, I'm loving you all in the chat room. Thanks for the kind words, man. My NHL season, Steve, has been one for the ages. I'm up 60 units, give or take, too. I think I'm up 57 or 58 on the season. I'm 17-8 in the playoffs for my clients. Dude, it's been... I don't want hockey to end. Like, can we just start it up immediately right after the Stanley Cup? It's been an amazing run. And tomorrow night, Game 7, I'm going to be watching Game 7 in my hot tub outside the game. I have an outdoor TV, an outdoor cabana. It's going to be spectacular.
Thought you might be there. I was going to ask you if you're going to be there, if Carmine or Andrew was coming down.
So it's interesting, and I know none of this is actual betting info, but whatever.
But it's interesting.
It's interesting because I have the ability to get my hands on tickets.
I would assume you do. That's why I'm a little surprised. But the hot tub sounds pretty good.
And I can get tickets at cost, so I'm not even paying like on StubHub or something. I can only go to the first game of each series. I don't have the emotional ability to sit there.
Yeah.
Like if it was I need to pace. I need to throw shit. I need to break shit. I need to scream and yell. I need to take my shirt off. Then I need to put it back on.
It's a
then
good
I need
emotional
to take
hedge.
it off. Then I need to put it back on.
It's a good emotional hedge, though,
Yeah.
Prez, because if they win, you're happy. If they lose, you're a little less sad because at least you weren't there. So
Yes,
it's not
yes.
a terrible emotional hedge. I've done
Yes.
that before over the years in different sports that I follow. So yeah, that's tomorrow on Sunday. If you want to talk about it, we can. If you want to save it for tomorrow,
no, we'll talk about it all, dude.
All right.
How about the Knicks, though? For all
Yeah.
the people, Tokyo Brandon, Leafs have not won the cup since color photography, nor have the Knicks.
We need a
And
3-screen.
just
We got to
for
get
the
Tokyo on
record,
early.
Tokyo Brandon, New York has no excuse. There should be no sport that New York plays that they don't win in a 50-year period.
Yeah,
It's
it was when
New
before I
York.
was born. You might have just been born. You're a couple years older than me, but yeah, it was right before I was born. They won the NBA final. I saw that the other week. I was like, man, that really puts it in perspective that it's been over 50 years. So look, the Leafs are a dog tomorrow. Is that warranted?
You know, Steve, these questions I get a lot in my amateur life, like when friends are like, oh my God, the Leafs are a dog. How is that possible? Or is that the right line? Every line is the right line at that very moment. Right now, Florida is minus 130. That is the right line. If money gets bet and Florida becomes plus 110, well, at that time, that would be the right line. For all you people who don't understand how this works, the line is always right.
No, that I know what you're
wrong.
saying. I would disagree with that, Prez, because
The
you and I have made
markets
money
are
for
the markets.
No, you and I have made money for 30 years because the line is not always right. So I know what you're saying.
So the way I look at it is the line is always right as far as the market goes. That doesn't mean we can't take advantage of the line being, I wouldn't say incorrect, I would say valuable.
I would use the word efficient, maybe.
Efficient,
instead of
valuable,
right.
and
yeah,
efficient.
I would say it's
Yes.
efficient. It's not right because you and I wouldn't have a long-term edge if it was always right. So,
Fair enough.
But I know what you're saying. I get the point.
Fair enough.
But yeah, but they're the home team. They're a home dog. I mean, and also I see the total. You got fives out there, over juice, 5.5s, under juiced, heavy. Obviously, five a very key number.
We have a game tonight. We'll talk about that after. Let me take apart this game quick. Right off the bat, the under is the play. 5.5 is the number. Look, even at 5, I would look to take the under, and there's no reason why not. Like, don't overthink this stuff. When you look at these two teams and their matchups against each other, 2 years ago, they played in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They went 5 games. All 5 games went under the total. In the last few, you had 2-0 in the last game, 6-1 in the game before that, but that was a total anomaly, and 2-0 the game before that. Florida and Toronto like to play these hard-checking, tight hockey games, and in Game 7 or Game 6, any type of elimination game, I like to look at the under. Now, the way I would attack this is to see if you can find that window to bet the over going into the third period. So in an ideal situation, you would take under 5.5, and then it's 1-0 going into the third, and the total would be, say, 3.5, and then I would maybe look to take the over there. The only problem I have with unders in these elimination games is if it's 3-1 or 4-1, the goalie could be pulled for 5 straight minutes. And that's why I like the over later and the under earlier. But I really do think this is going to be a tight checking game. I like the Leafs here, too. I think it was a huge statement game against Florida. This team could have rolled over and died, and instead they played their most perfect hockey game in the entire Matthews-Marner era. Last night, Joseph Woll has played outstanding as well. If I can get the Leafs as a dog, I would go there, but I do prefer under the total of 5.5. And I think we get at most a 3-2 hockey game. It's going to be a hell of a hockey game tomorrow night. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a Game 7, 7:30 Eastern, Sunday night. They put the NBA game on at 3:30 Eastern, Game 7 tomorrow, Thunder Nuggets. And
yeah, you know why? You know
Yeah,
why?
hockey got the spotlight.
It's because the NBA is scared. You remember when the NFL would not put games, on Sunday night because baseball owns Sunday night?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy to think, right?
Now the NFL puts games up against the World Series on Sunday night. I love to see that the NHL is taking over from the NBA for Sunday night.
Saw that the top 100 live viewed shows in 2024, not a single one of the top 100 was an NBA game last year. And I think like 90 were football games, like 70 some were NFL games, like 10 of the top 12. But yeah, the NBA's got issues. Trust me. I've talked about that a lot in my daily videos here on WagerTalk TV, and load management has killed that sport. Like hockey, man. Old school hockey is still alive. Game 7 tomorrow night.
Do you attribute that to Kawhi, or is that like pre-Kawhi? Because he really felt like the poster child of load management.
Well, and he had a lot of injuries. He was also the poster child of injuries, I mean, it's like he was never healthy. And I think part of it is, first of all, these guys make way too much money now, so they don't need to play. They get paid regardless. And then also, they're incredibly athletic and fast. It's the same problem the NFL has with the injuries, the head injuries. These guys are bigger, stronger, and faster than ever in the history of mankind. Saw an article yesterday. Nick Van Exel is preaching they need to go back to more high tops because these Achilles injuries are happening because of the low cuts that Kobe Bryant started with. I thought that was interesting. So,
I wonder, I mean, that has to be a scientific thing. Like, I don't know if you can.
They had numbers in there. They had the science thing of like cadaver, like they do rupture like 10% faster, like without the ankle support.
So speaking of science, I golf a ton. During COVID, you weren't taking the flag out. So you putt.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You putt with the flag in so people wouldn't touch the flag.
Good God.
Since COVID, people have left the flag in. It's now a thing. The flag remains in.
You talking about when you're on the green putting even?
Yeah. They did a study.
That's messed up.
On whether you have a greater chance of sinking like a 4-foot putt with the flag in or out. What do you think the answer is, guys?
I guarantee you with a long putt, it's a better chance of sinking it because I've seen it bounce off the stick, like, when guys chip in and stuff. A shorter putt, my intuition was that it could knock it out if it's going too slow. So what were the results?
It was Sean Alvarez. I'm curious. I hate when people leave the flag in. The question, Sean, is it better to have it in or out on short putts? I think they were putts with inside of 8 feet.
Yeah, I'd say taking it out's better.
Okay, I'll answer after we do the Winnipeg game.
Ooh, a tease.
Okay.
That's a tease. Tease for game 6 tonight, Winnipeg and Dallas. Winnipeg was up, 3-1? Dallas got it on the road. Now they're back at home. They're actually $1.30 favorite here in most spots. So
other way around, my brother. Dallas was up 3-1.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I knew it was 3-1. I've watched 5 seconds of hockey this playoffs, and it was actually this game the other night, and it set up in the corner 3-1. And yeah, it had to have been 3-1 because it's Dallas 3-2 as I'm looking at the odds logic live odds screen right now. But you're right. Yeah, Dallas 3-1. Winnipeg won at home. Now they got to win on the road as a dog. Do they force a game 7?
I don't know, Steve. I mean,
like the line is right, they don't.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm going to give you my play. I have a client play for everybody. It's up at WagerTalk. You have to pay for it. It's free to your listeners. I like the under, Steve. I'm just going to stick to the program here. I want to take unders in these close games. Last night we had a game 6. It was such a stone cold under. It was ridiculous. Here you got Winnipeg 40 and 51 to the under on the year-end playoffs. Dallas 39-48 to the under on the year on the playoffs. Head-to-head. Are you ready for this, Steve? Head-to-head in their last 10 games, how many went under? Take a guess.
8.
9.
9, wow.
9
That's underwhelming.
Under. And the only game that went over was a 5-2 victory by Dallas.
Wow.
With an empty netter with an empty netter. So why are we sitting here trying to overthink this stuff? I mean, these two teams have already defined how they want to play. They've defined how they want to play against everybody, and they definitely have defined how they want to play against each other. The only thing that worries me here ultimately is that Hellbuck has just been absolutely horrible. On on the road. And it defies logic, Steve. It makes absolutely no sense. And I know that when you look at pitchers in baseball and you sit there and you think, okay, well, Kershaw's incredible at home and shitty on the road, or I just made that up, but whoever is great at home, shitty on the road. The discrepancy on the road and at home for Connor Hellebuck is at a level that we've never seen in any sport. It would literally be the equivalent of I don't have an analogy. Forget analogies. Andrew Woj, I love you too, brother. The bottom line here is, why are we overthinking this shit? Take the under, take the under, take the under. If you have a chance to take the over in the third period, like I said on the Leaf game, so for instance, it's 0-0 going into the third, total is 2.5, put half the under bet on that over and protect yourself from 5 minutes of an empty net opportunity. But my client play is the under, and my client plays have been freaking gold. So that's where we're at, my brother. Yeah, and the answer, Marcus.
I was going to say it's the equivalent to free throws late in playoff games or the NCAA tournament that'll cost you there. It's that empty net goal in hockey, kind of like free throws late in basketball games. But yeah, so 8-foot putt or less, is it more likely to go with the flag in the pole still? I want the answer.
So I was convinced it was in the hole because it would hit the flag and go in if you went too fast. It is not. It is without the flag. Right. When you hit those fast putts, like when you talk long distance and you're thinking it'll slow it down, it could also ricochet it out.
Good point.
So they did they set up a machine so that it wasn't a guy putting, and the ball would roll down the machine at the hole. So it was always the same pace, always in the same spot, always down the same route. And they did it 1,000 times, and it ended up very, very close. I mean, it's minuscule difference, but it was ultimately better with the flag out, which surprised the hell out of me, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. You could think they've been doing that for 100 years because even before science, they figured it was better, or they also, thought maybe it was blocking the ball, so they took it out back in the day. But that is interesting. I wonder if being at an angle down, though, if that negates the study a little bit, since that's not how a real putt comes in, since it's coming in level. But
fair.
Interesting. So you're saying minuscule results that it's a little bit better to have the flag out of the hole, correct?
Right.
So
yeah,
you should still be taking it out.
I will tell you from a massive results perspective, I suck at golf. So if you want to win a golf tournament and you have to find a partner, I ain't the guy. I'm an 18 handicap, Steve Merril.
Yeah, well, I was a 30 back in the day, and I was actually great for tournaments because I was getting 2 strokes on every hole, and I would occasionally have that par, which is impossible to beat when you're a 30 handicap. So, there's 2 ways to look at that. You got to get your handicap down a little bit more, and you'll actually be a great tournament partner because then you're getting a couple strokes every hole.
It's not. What you're saying is totally incorrect, Steve. And can I tell you why, or we're done? Whatever you want.
No, you can tell me why, because I'd love to know why.
I'll tell you why the handicap concept in golf it's a great idea conceptually, but it doesn't work. And the reason is this. I got a friend who's a 2 handicap. I'm an 18 handicap. And he always says to me, let's play against each other for money. We'll play on our handicaps. I'm at 2, you're at 18. Hell no, because an 18 handicap so that means you're shooting 90. So a 2 handicap means you're shooting 74. A 2 handicap almost never shoots 84. He's almost never 10 worse than his handicap, where an 18 handicap can shoot a 106 on any given day.
Correct.
There is too much room for error on the big handicaps. The small handicaps, if you're a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, you're always within 6 of your game. When you're a shit golfer, it's a 20-stroke difference. There are many days where I'll go out and hit an 88, and the next day I hit a 108.
Correct, that's 100% not what I was talking about. If you listen to what I said in tournament play, and the example I used, I haven't played for 20 years.
But that's skins.
My dad was a scratch golfer, and I was like a 30 handicap. I'd played for like a couple years. We played in a member guest, the two of us. Everybody thought Steve Jr. was the 2 handicap until they saw the tee shots. They realized I wasn't. But he was getting no strokes the entire 2-day tournament because he was the best golfer in the field. I was the worst. So every hole I was getting 2 strokes. And occasionally, like 1 out of 5 holes, I'd have a par, which was like an eagle. It was impossible to beat. Otherwise, he'd clean up the mess and par every hole. So I'm talking about for like a member guest for like a two group. It shouldn't even be a tournament, just like a 2-man. You pair up a terrible handicap with a great handicap like your friend, you're unbeatable almost. It's almost unfair. But like I said, you're not bad enough for that to work. Though you got to get to like the 30s, man. You got to tank more.
Tokyo Brandon is dying to get on. Dude, thanks for having me. This was so fun. I really appreciate you doing this show. Shout out to Andy Lang as well for the great work him and you are doing on WagerTalk today. I hope to be announcing my new show sometime in the next couple of weeks. But really, Steve, thanks, man. This was so fun, bro.
That was good stuff. Lawrence Prezman, the Prez. Find him at WagerTalk.com. And one of the comments up earlier that said, Kiss is a greater band than the Grateful Dead. And right when I was going to have our producer Dan pop it up, I realized it came from a guy named Tokyo Brandon. So we didn't have time to mess with them even more, Tokyo. But fun stuff. We should have gone to the 3 box, but it might have broken the internet for real if we had done that. So, all right, my man, let's finish off here with a few minutes of baseball. What's catching your eye today on Saturday?
I'm sure he misses me.
He does,
seeing
man.
me once a week.
It's like the United Nations here. Like America's the neutral country. I'm like Switzerland between Canada and Japan right now here on Saturday.
Yeah, I miss him making fun of my my wardrobe and all that stuff. Is really good stuff. Let's talk about Arizona versus Colorado first of all.
Whew. Colorado, man, they're having a hell of a season, huh?
Yeah, I'm plus 55 units. I'm number 3 at WagerTalk right now. Number 1 3 of the last 4 years. I'll do a promotion later. You can get 3 days of my all access for just $39 using code TB3. But let's get to the game. I got several games up. Sorry, Dan, I threw some games out to you earlier. This was not one of them. So if you had graphics ready, sorry about that. Zach Gallen taking the mound for the Diamondbacks and German Marquez. Actually, Zach Gallen is a guy that I think the books generally overcompensate for. I think the books like him a little too much, but I'm going to back him here. The only way you could do this is on the run line, though, because they're a minus 300. But Colorado is just one of those teams. Colorado is the only team. Like, I do rankings in several categories: hitting, batting. Hitting and batting, same thing. It's 1 a.m. here. Give me a break. Batting, pitching, and bullpen, starting pitcher. And Colorado is the only team that ranks 26 or worse in every single category that I rank across the board. German Marquez I have him ranked 28 out of 30 on a curve of 30 out of 200 starting pitchers. So yeah, he's walking about 60% of the batters that he strikes out. Not good numbers. Gallen's pretty average, but still, I think even though Arizona's bullpen is struggling, they're batting number 8 in all of MLB. So Diamondbacks would be the only way to go. Even at home, I think a run line is pretty safe here.
Yeah, and the Rockies just are historically bad right now. I did a video on them the other day, and a couple of days ago they had 7 wins, which was half as many as any other team in baseball. The White Sox, I think, had like 13. Everybody else had 14 or 15 wins or more.
Yep.
And it's interesting. Arthur DeCesar said, the Dodgers haven't gone to 2.5 run line yet because they haven't been cashing as much as people thought. But he said the Rockies are a team they might have to start putting in plus 2.5. They're just so bad offensively. And it's like any sport now, Tokyo. It's like you got to have offense. And you take them out of Coors Field, they're really bad. They're like less than 2 runs a game. At what point this season do you maybe start trusting Colorado? I mean, you'd have to see the offense maybe heat up.
I will never trust Colorado this season. That's the easy answer.
I don't disagree.
There's no way you can trust them. I do a show, Total Bases, with Adam Trigger and Brian Leonard. And I said in the very show number 1 in week 1 of MLB, I said, the Colorado Rockies are going to be the worst. They're going to be worse than the White Sox. And nobody believed me, but they believe me now. They'll be
the
lucky
White Sox,
40
games. Wins last year? They were pretty damn bad last year, and the Rockies are giving them a run. And the age of parity, Well, it's amazing to me, too, in the age of parity, especially like in all sports, that we have some extreme outliers like the White Sox last year, the Rockies this year. And then the opposite end, the Dodgers have been as, stacked as any team in recent history. Arthur mentioned they were, and Johnny mentioned this earlier this week. They're only up like a unit for the season coming into midweek. What are you doing with this Dodgers-Angels game tonight? The Angels bullpen has really struggled this season.
Dodgers Angels, yeah. So Clayton Kershaw is going to make his first start here. And what I've noticed in the past, Clayton Kershaw, when he makes his first appearance after some time off, he's usually pretty good. I mean, he's up there in age, and basically it's basically like dating before your marriage. This is as good as it's ever going to get for him. This is going to be his best start of the season, most likely. It's all downhill from here. They'll probably leave him in for 4 innings. They'll probably allow 1 run. Angels batting, I have them ranked 20 out of 30. Their bullpen, I have them ranked 24 out of 30. So Anderson's the only saving grace for the Angels today because he's actually a pretty good pitcher. He's one of the few pitchers that isn't poisoned by the toxic pitching coaching that they have in LA. Have you noticed pitchers like Canning and Haney, when they leave LA, they all of a sudden are good? And pitchers like Kikuchi, when they go to LA, suddenly they're bad. It's no a coincidence there. But I think the Dodgers will handle this one. They were due for a letdown after scoring like 2 or 3 touchdowns the night before on the Athletics. So they had their letdown yesterday. May sucked. But today I have a feeling the Dodgers are going to explode for another one of those double-digit run production games.
Yeah, once again, I've said for years now, you play the Dodgers -1.5 run line. You don't lay that extra juice because when they win, they usually win by margin. And the thing about the Rockies, 30 of their first 35 losses this year were by 2 runs or more. One of them was on opening day by 1 run. So they've lost 30 of their next 34 losses came by 2 runs or more. So you can literally cut the juice in half with really bad teams laying the run and a half against them, or really good teams laying the run and a half with a team like the Dodgers. Roger Long says the Pirates might give the Rockies a run for their money as one of the worst teams in the league. And this is an interesting game to talk about today because they play the Phillies, the Pennsylvania rival, the 276 rivalry, the Turnpike here. Phillies, I thought maybe would regress a little bit this season, 26-18, just 13-15 against winning teams. So that means they're 13-3 against losing teams like the Pirates. Do they get it done today?
I don't think there's any other way to go here. I mean, you got Zach Wheeler on the mound. Not only on the curve do I have him as an elite pitcher, but out of all the 250 pitchers that I rank, I have him number 4. So he is elite. On my curve of 30, I have him number 1.7. So yeah, he's definitely elite. He's only walking 12% of the guys that he strikes out, which is an amazing number. Mlodzinski, I have him ranked 20 out of 30. So he's in the bottom 1/3 tier. Pittsburgh, their bullpen is not bad. Have them ranked 18, but I got Phillies bullpen ranked 13. So Phillies have every advantage here. Hitting, they rank 8. Pittsburgh ranks 26. They just can't produce any runs whatsoever. I don't think there's any other way to go. I think Phillies were like -270, but you can get them on the run line for a good number. Parlay the Phillies together with the Diamondbacks for -120. Might not be a bad bet on that one because I don't see either one of those teams losing to bottom feeders at home with good pitchers on the mound.
Yeah, once again, Phillies big on the money line, but once again, that run line can really cut it down to about -145 today. Cuts it in half almost, as is often the case. That game's at 6:05 Eastern tonight, Pittsburgh at Philly, and it is truly last call on last call. If you guys want any games covered here with Tokyo Brand, a couple minutes remaining, drop them in the live chat. On the way out here, we'll get to one more game with the Tokyo, and that's Padres Mariners tonight, and that is a late game at 8:40 Eastern. Hancock and Pavada. We've got Seattle at San Diego. What are you looking at in this one?
So this is a good one. San Diego lost yesterday, and that was kind of a surprise. But today they have a much better pitcher here. I have Emerson Hancock ranked 24 out of 30 on the curve of 30. He's walking way too many guys. The only advantage that Seattle has in this game, as far as my numbers are concerned, is the bullpen. But it's not really that much of an advantage. Seattle is actually one of those teams that's known for their bullpen, but in this game, I have them ranked 14 out of 30, where I have San Diego ranked 19 out of 30. But those numbers are a little deceiving because San Diego has much better talent in their bullpen. And, you cap baseball too, Steve. The first couple weeks of the season, San Diego's bullpen was elite. But now they're dipping a little bit, but I think they'll come back. San Diego's too talented not to come back, and they get Emerson Hancock, who is probably not a major league level pitcher. I think they'll crush him. I think they'll smash him. However, you can take San Diego here. I think I got them at -1. But yeah, San Diego's the much better team. They have the better batting. San Diego currently ranks 5. Seattle currently ranks 24 in batting. So yeah, San Diego's the only way to go here.
So we got one bonus game for you, Brandon, on the way out here. Mike Scott in the chat saying, good morning, fellas. Do you all like the Nationals game going over today? My Washington Nationals, I think they're a little bit of a sleeper team. It's interesting. I saw the future odds. I think the bottom 3 teams are bottom 4, White Sox, Rockies, Pirates, and they had the Nationals grouped with them. And I think the Nationals are an up-and-coming team. 19-27, I think they started 1-7, right? So they're 18-19 or whatever since. But he's asking about the total. But do you have any thoughts on this Nationals game? It's a 4:05 Eastern. It's the rivalry series, the I-95 series between the Nationals, my Washington Nationals, and my childhood Baltimore Orioles. I'm conflicted, Brandon. Set me straight in this one.
I like the comments. Tokyo Brandon was still in the womb when Merril was making us.
I think you might actually be a little bit older than me too. That's why I was laughing when I saw that. Brandon and I both look good for our age. Prez is a couple years older than me, but Brandon and I are holding up pretty well over 50, I believe. So not
I'm
doing
55. I am. So.
You beat Prez then. I think Prez is 53ish. I'm 51ish. We're all over half a century. Yeah. We all have a lot of baseball experience, and Tokyo and I combined last year won over 200 units at WagerTalk. Put that in perspective in baseball alone. So it's pretty impressive.
Yes, we did. You and I are usually at the top there, fighting for supremacy there. But yeah, let's talk about this one. Actually, I think the Nationals have a chance to win this today, and I like them as a dog. Not going to put a lot of money on it. Irvin's not exactly a guy I'm happy to back. And Washington's bullpen's not very good, but Kyle Gibson is just so bad. So I'm kind of liking the Nationals to have a shot here, maybe on a +1.5, or just straight up on the money line. Another way to go would be to take their team total. I think it was 4.5. 4.5 might be kind of high. Maybe take an alt team total over 3.5 and parlay it with something. But I think the Nationals are live here because Kyle Gibson is just so bad. Put it in perspective. As I said, I ranked 250 starting pitchers, and Kyle Gibson ranks 249.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I got to ask you then, do you know offhand who number 250 is?
Let me find out.
That's quick. Fantastic. 249. So there's a reason. I'll throw it back. Mike was asking about the total there. I'll throw it back. There's a reason, Mike, that total is 10.5. It's the biggest total on the board today. There's a 10 out there also. As you know, Tokyo, more times than not, the highest totals go over in any sport, the lowest totals go under. So you've got the second worst starting pitcher in baseball going today. Whew.
That's true. Yeah. And I actually have Bowden Francis ranked 250.
Wow.
Bowden Francis was a guy I was really high on last season. He just fell off a cliff this season. I don't know what's wrong with him. But anyway, regarding that 10 total, I don't know if I would do that because both of these offenses rank in the bottom 1/3 of all of MLB. But if it's going to go over, this is the game to go over. But I would feel more comfortable taking Washington's team total because you get a lineup that's going against a poor bullpen and a really poor starting pitcher. And I think the Orioles used some of their bullpen yesterday to preserve a win. So, I think Washington's team total over is a better way to go than the full game.
Yeah, we're even seeing there's lots of 5.5s for the first 5. There's even some 6s out there for a first 5 inning line, which is unheard of nowadays. That tells you what you need to know about Gibson. How about this play?
Yeah.
Washington's first 5 team total is 2.5. Interesting.
That might be a good way to go because
Gibson give up 3. He's good for 3, right?
game total's 4.5, which is kind of high. You know, I like to take over 3.5s.
Yeah, it's actually plus.
Yeah,
it's even money. Yeah, Nationals' first 5 team total over 2.5 would be even money, which does seem a
might be a
little
good way
light.
to go.
Yeah, there we
Might
go.
be a
We
good way
finished
to go.
off last call with a nice little first 5 team total, which I've never released in my life until just now.
Let me throw another one out. I just put I'm going to do my Steve Merril impersonation. I just made a video on WagerTalk.com. Go check it out. That's what Steve always says. But
I was going to ask you what you
video.
got going on, so it would be a very appropriate time to promote. Smart
Yeah,
ass.
I just made it. A lot of people were asking about the Mets and Yankees game, and I think the Mets are a live dog here because Canning has only allowed 4 runs in his last 5 starts. If the Mets are going to win one game in this series, because they're not going to win tomorrow against I'm drawing a blank, but Yankees have their ace on the mound tomorrow, so I don't think the Mets are going to win that one. But I think the Mets are a live dog today. TB3, get 3 days all access of my plays for $39. It's a pretty good deal. I have 2 4% plays out today, so you can get both of those plus 2 more days for $39. It's a great deal.
Max Fried, who will be going tomorrow. Max Fried.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the Sunday night game actually tomorrow. A pair of lefties, Fried and Peterson, are scheduled to go tomorrow night.
I don't think the Mets are going to win that one, but I think they could win today because Canning has been unbelievable. 4 earned runs in his last 5 starts.
Wow.
And that's against good teams too. That's against the Blue Jays and teams that are really smacking it.
Well, so that's so important to do too when you're looking at pitching numbers, right? Because I'll talk a lot about this in the videos. We got 6 or 7 starts now. These ERAs, these whips, these records can be so skewed based on one really bad outing, especially if it's like the first or second start of the year. So that is a nice little trick that I use for baseball handicapping early in the season now that I think it's overlooked a lot of times. And then, as Brandon just said, you got to factor in opponents too, right? You've had 3 starts against the Colorado Rockies in your home park. You're going to look pretty good. Brandon and I would have a good ERA against those guys too.
There was a guy starting yesterday, and his numbers looked really great. But when you broke it down, he had 13 innings, and 5 of those were against the Rockies, and 6 of those were against the Pirates. So
wow! So 11 of his 13 innings came against the Rockies and Pirates, and then if they're Colorado road games, it's even stronger. Exactly, or vice versa. You know, if half your innings have come in Colorado, your numbers might not look as good as they should be. So lots of different ways to look at it. But I love baseball because it is a stat sport. And Tokyo Brandon crushes it as well as anybody. So check him out. 3 days, 39. Great seeing you, Tokyo. And you can catch him Wager Talk TV quite often throughout the week. So make sure you click subscribe. You click that bell as well for instant alerts when any videos or shows go live here. And that'll wrap up last call, almost a full hour. Just a couple minutes short of noon Eastern here on Saturday. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching the replay, drop questions in the replay chat below as we do monitor the chat also and reply back. And once again, if you'd like my Game 7 preview, Thunder Nuggets, free play, side, total, player props, all covered in that video. It is up right now here on Wager Talk TV. And make sure you click subscribe and the bell for instant alerts so you never miss out. I'm doing every NBA playoff game every day throughout the postseason here on the channel. Also, thumbs up, like, and comment as I mentioned, because we do read the comments and we reply back. And a couple quick reminders on the way out here. 2 great specials going this weekend at WagerTalk.com for every capper, and there is no promo code needed. 3 days for $49. 3 days for $49. It's a great sampler to try all sports. Or if you're ready to take that serious investment approach that I talked about earlier in the show, the 1-year all access with over an $800 instant discount and the bonus 25% coupon that you can use every day for the next year for any other picks that you want to purchase is available. That gets it down to just $3 a day. WagerTalk.com. Check it out. And also check out the bonus free plays. I've got some baseball best bets for Saturday. I've got a free play up in that Angels-Dodgers game tonight on Saturday on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. You get to my page quicker, wt.buzz/SM. Don't forget to follow Wager Talk on X at Wager Talk, also on Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.